All right. So Danett, okay. All right, so we're about to go live. You will see a box that comes up on your screen and you know that we are live streaming. You just click got it. That's when you start inviting everybody in to have a lovely seat at the table to devour this beautiful presentation that you've put together.
Good morning, Facebook. Welcome, Grand Rising. So honored and thankful to get to be with you this morning. So as we get ready, please grab a pen or pencil and paper. If you have a health journal or anything that you like to record information on, please grab that. Make sure you have something to drink to hydrate, ideally some water. And if you have the option to be in a space where you're going to be able to move your arms back and forth and around, that would be great, because a little later on, we hopefully will get to do some Qigongs. Those are some great things to do to get ready.
Grand Rising Doctor and Grand Rising family, glad to be here.
Grand Rising, Teresa. On this terrific Tuesday with Teresa. Right, Grand Rising, Adam.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning?
Give thanks, right? Another day, right?
Yep.
Ashe.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
All right, Grand Rising, everyone. So honored and happy to be with you today. Just want to make sure I say hi to Stacy and Marie. Welcome, welcome everybody. Welcome Facebook, welcome Zoom again. My name is Danett Bean. I am a doctor of traditional Asian medicine and women's and maternal health specialist. And today we are going to be talking about getting fibroids to leave. Hit the road, fibroids, and don't you come back no more. And this is a really important topic because of how it affects so many women. And even if it's not something that you've had direct experience with, I guarantee you, that this is something that will be of use. because we're also going to be get the opportunity to get to just think about what are some of the habits that we know that if we enforced or said hit the road to, that we would be able to take our health to the next level. So we can hit it. Little inspirational music. Just think about any patterns that you may want in addition to
What you say, mama? Oh, woman, don't treat me so mean. You mean no woman, I'm never saying. I guess if you said so, I'll never have to back the things and go. What you say? Come on, baby, listen, baby, don't you treat me this way. I'll be back on my feet someday. Well, I guess if you said so, I'll then have to pack my things and go. Yeah. What you say? You must be joking. What you trying to do to me? Well, can't we talk it over? I thought we had a better understanding. Oh, baby, don't be so chippy. You don't want to see me cry. Oh, baby, please. It isn't fair. You don't want me to cry no more. Yeah, yeah.
Love me some Ray Charles. All right. So I picked this song because we all have, a lot of us, and I believe I've heard from so many people that there's oftentimes a point where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that's when the change happens. And so fibroids are something that is common, but is not normal. And so sometimes when something just sort of becomes like, oh, this is just what happens, that we kind of like, just go along with it, but we don't need to go along with it. So today, our overview, I'm going to be talking about what are fibroids. We'll be discussing why working to prevent fibroid growth is so important, and also what can we do to prevent fibroid growth. Okay, next slide, please. So what are fibroids? Fibroids or leiomyomas are tumors or growths that grow in or on the wall of the uterus or womb. This is a definition from the National Institute of Health. And in traditional Asian medicine, we use the term jeju. That's what it falls under the category of. The je is more so like for immovable masses, and the ju is more so for like if there are masses that someone has that may come and go. So fibroids are definitely the je of the jeju. And I think that it's really important to understand that while we have our dominant medical system at this time, which does amazing things, there are other ways to look at health and well-being. And I believe that it's really important that we work to incorporate and integrate whatever is helpful, whatever helps the body, helps us the most. without creating harm. And so in traditional Asian medicine, we always look at fibroids as an issue where blood was not flowing properly, so what we call blood stasis. There's always some sort of what we call a qi deficiency or a lack of energy. And then oftentimes, not always, but there can also be phlegm involved. So my first question is, has anyone here ever been diagnosed with fibroids or know someone who has? You know, it's actually something that's really, really common. Yes, so I see Nefertiti as a yes. It's actually something that is really common. In fact, I think it's 70% of white women by the age of 49 will have fibroids. And then for women of African heritage, I believe, or African Americans, I believe it's 84%. And so the numbers are even higher between the ages of 40 to 50. So yeah, anything in the chat? I saw Nefertiti said yes. Stacy said she had surgery in 1994 and 2003. That's real. Yeah. Yeah.
Danett, Dr. Danett, good morning. Theodora has her hand raised.
Oh, yes. Yes, Theodora.
Would you like to come off mute?
No,
and share?
I was just answering the question.
Okay.
Had surgery in 2015, had surgery in 2009. Yeah. Yep. Yes. So yeah, so it's really great that we, you know, have the technology and the methods to help when we, you know, when surgery is required. But as we've seen, right, that sometimes someone will have fibroids and they'll come back. And so what we want to be able to do is to offer additional ways to think about how to help the body do something, shift it, balance it so that it can do something different. Yes, Niger, 2003 and 2012. Yep, yep. So we're going to get more of an opportunity to, well, actually, would anyone like to say anything before we go back to the slides about their experience? Probably have one person if you wanted to come off mute and say what that was like for
Yes,
you.
this is Teresa Scott. I had them a whole lot when I was younger, and they were very painful and I was bleeding a lot. That's the one thing that you know was very problematic for me, is that I was just bleeding so much. And so it made blood count go down very, very low and made me very weak. And
Yes.
so then I got a mass, and then I just had a lot of stuff done to me as a young woman that I just think that they was not really dealing with properly. And so, you know, I never had to have surgery, but it was just really bad. And so they had me on all kind of pills and different stuff. So after I have to come off it. But you know,
Yes.
my body's going through a lot of, you know, stuff with GYN issues, but you know, it's doing a lot better. I must say that. You know, it's really healing a lot better.
I'm so glad to hear that you're doing better. And yes, I mean, there's, you know, in my work, many times when I do an intake with someone, when we just go over the history of, you know, the different things that people have had or taken or done, you know, everything is supposed to have some sort of result, right? Some sort of effect. And sometimes that's something that's more of a positive. That's what we're going for. And then sometimes it's something that isn't as positive as what we're going for, right? So it's really important, as you just laid out, Teresa, to really look at the full scope of what your history is, right? That's really, really important. Was there anything else you wanted to say before we moved on?
I just think I'm just glad to have women like yourself that, you know, helping us get better treatment and better care. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And what you said was a perfect segue into why working to prevent fibroid growth is so important. So if we could go back to the slides, please. I did see someone say they had a laser surgery as well. Yeah. So why working to prevent fibroid growth is so important? So pain, right? First of all, when you're in pain, who can think? All right. And some women experience a lot of pain. It could be just pelvic pain. For some people, I've seen it refer to their back. Sometimes it means them having painful intercourse. I mean, should those two things go in the same sentence? I mean, that's not even right. And then it can also affect the function of the bowels and urination. For some, it can affect fertility and pregnancy. And as we were just talking about with, as Teresa mentioned, excess bleeding can lead to anemia. And this is really important in TAM, which is traditional Asian medicine, because blood for women, there's like a lot of theory and things that have been shown to be true about how women have this tendency to be blood deficient just naturally because of us having cycles. And so we don't need to have anything else that's going to necessarily be pulling from our blood, such as heavy cycles, because the blood also is the foundation of an energy. I'm sure many of you have seen like the yin yang symbols and have heard those terms. So the blood helps the energy of the yin stay healthy. We need the yin to help balance out the yang. And what can happen is that particularly as we approach menopause, our yin energy becomes very, very important. So if we have lost a lot of blood and we haven't gotten to build it back, then that can affect and make our menopause potentially more intense. My thoughts are also that because of the huge health disparities that happen, Black women are more likely to deal with more fibroids, to start dealing with them earlier on, and because of starting with it earlier on and having more fibroids and dealing with more symptoms. And then this potentially, I believe, these are my beliefs at this point, this part that I'm going to say next is that it can confound with other health disparities. I haven't found any research on that yet, but I'm speaking from the medical standpoint that I come from, where the energy of the blood affects the heart, it affects different organ energies. And so, if somebody is dealing with one set of issues, it can affect other things as well. What's also important is that, more so in the Western medical field, if you say fibroids, well, that's different than other masses. But in traditional Asian medicine, we see it as what creates a mass anywhere in the body still has to deal with the same substances. And so I believe that if we can truly work preventively to do the things that help to prevent masses from forming like fibroids, in theory, and how we see things, it should also help to set the body up to not create masses in other places. So, lots of times what happens is there's this whole thing of let's wait and see, which that works great for some people. Let's wait and see works. Some people it works out fine for, and some people the let's wait and see does not work well for at all. As Teresa was saying, right, as she's gotten older, it's been less of an issue. That's because typically as we get older, our estrogen decreases and that makes the fibroids, they're supposed to shrink, but that's not true for everyone. I've seen cases over the years where that hasn't happened. So it's not to have something else to worry about. It's just to be made aware that there are things that we can do. And we'll get more into that a little later. So yes, back to the slides, please. Yes, so the question, this has been like one of the most popular questions that I've been asked in my practice year after year for a long time now. Can fibroids be helped with natural means? And so my answer is yes and no, right? Everybody is different. I believe that it's always best. So what I'm saying now, I think that it's really important to remember that it's always best to work with, to make sure that you are under the guidance of a competent physician. And at this point, I believe we all need medical teams, right? So, you know, make sure, I'm not asking for you to do what I'm saying. I'm asking for you to work with your physician, for you to work with your GYN, for you to work with your medical team and make sure it's one that works for you. But here are just some general guidelines. So this stuff goes back like, you know, thousands of years, but the whole notion of being able to shrink a fibroid, we usually say that it depends on the size that it is. So there's this whole notion of if it's not larger than a robin's egg, right? So that tells you how long ago that was. People were measuring using, you know, eggs. And so, which is approximately 1.2 inches by like 0.8. So something like that. Anything bigger than that, it's not that it's impossible, but it's less likely. And then also in terms of the type, there are 3 different types of fibroids. I won't get into all of that, but the ones that are like interstitial or what's called intramural, that actually grow from the muscles of, within the muscle of the fibroid, are said to seem to be helped more easily by natural means. And I believe that this is because as women take in different medicinals, then it's more easy to be able, for the fibroid to be able to access it because of the blood supply as it's going to it, as opposed to the location of the other types. So, you know, some people feel defeated if they don't get rid of them all naturally. I'm like, don't, you know, this is the same thing that I see some women go through with childbirth. It doesn't, I don't think it really matters. I think the thing is that we want to figure out what's the best thing for your body at a particular time. And, you know, I've seen some women deal with like lots of bleeding. And if that isn't, you know, if that isn't being fixed, then you may want to think about a procedure. But the last step, and I've heard some women, like different stories over the years of hysterectomies, like that's actually something that I think is way too common. You know, I can't judge a particular physician and their training and what it is that they're, you know, doing, but my understanding is unless something is potentially, you know, fatal, if there's any potential malignancies or anything like that, then what we really want to do is work to get the fibroids to stop causing issue without having to, you know, do something that's so traumatic to the body. So I'm sure there are women here who've, I can't say I'm sure, but in the different talks and stuff, people usually have either had like a partial hysterectomy or know someone who has, because that was the medical treatment that was decided at the time. And lots of times what happens is it's an emergency situation. And so something must be done quickly. And I think that we just have to, again, make sure that we have a competent medical team and make sure that we're staying in touch. And whatever we decide to do with our bodies is what we decide to do with our bodies. We need to keep them healthy. We need to keep them safe. And we need to make sure that the people that are our doctors, they work for us. So I have patients who are afraid to talk to their doctors. If you have a doctor who you're afraid to talk to, you need another doctor, okay? Because the doctors work for you and your team should be set up to help you reach your health goals. So, yeah, so that's what I'm gonna say about that. So actually we're doing pretty good on time. Okay, so we're going to get ready to shift into what can we do, right? Because it's about what is it that we can do to help prevent fibroid growth. So actually we're gonna start off with some Qigong. So if you could close the slides down and then we'll come back to it. So we have a list of things that we can do. Yes. We have a list of things that we can do to help prevent, from the traditional Asian medical standpoint, things that we can do to help set the body up to be less interested and have less of a need to create fibroids. And one of them is being able to promote circulation to our womb. But before that, was there something in Facebook? I'd love to hear from Facebook.
She shares from Kaisha. One of Kaisha's friends told her on Saturday she had a partial hysterectomy due to fibroids on her ovary. Now she's feeling pain again in her sides, and she thinks her other ovary might be removed. Teresa from Facebook, she says, this is Teresa Plaskett. She says she had uterine fibroid embolism in 2019. Her mother and sister had hysterectomies in their 40s. And Stacy Evans, who's here in Zoom, she shares hysterectomy used to be the most performed unnecessary surgery. That's no longer true, but that was true at the time of my first go around with fibroids. I had to fight the hospital to keep from having one. And Nigel says I exhausted several options before eventually having a hysterectomy.
Yes. Yes. Well, I thank y'all for sharing. You know, I'm not the medical system, but I always want to apologize for these things happening. I mean, in a way, it's, I mean, I don't want to, there's a lot of great things that are ancient, so it's not even ancient. It's an antiquated, some antiquated things are great. So it's, to me, it's kind of barbaric when we can't figure out other means, unless that is actually what's, you know, deemed medically, as they say, like medically necessary. But I think part of it is that there's been a huge lack of proper research and funds devoted to women's health, like for a very long period of time. And so a lot of women have dealt with so many different issues because of this lack of, it's really ignorance and a lack of resource in terms of being able to look at potentially how to help people prevent and or the different tools and access. So I'm not knocking the medicine. I don't want to sound that way at all. I believe our dominant medical system at this time has saved many lives and has done a lot of wonderful things, but everybody has its role. Everybody has its part. Like if you're playing basketball, you know, you're not gonna always give the ball to the 3-point shooter. You're gonna move things around because everybody has a different view on what needs to happen. But if it just keeps going back to the same player and they just know that same shot, then things are going to be limited. And so I'm hoping that, you know, as time goes on, we're able to have more of a integrative medicine and more what I believe is key, which is patient-centered care. So wanted to thank y'all for sharing that. So yeah, so let's do some stuff. Let's move on with this, hit the road. So we're going to do some Qigong now. Qigong is an ancient, there we go with a good ancient healing practice. Qi is energy, Gong is cultivation. And what Qigong does is it helps to promote circulation and movement within the body. It works with the body's natural healing intelligence. So I'm big on acupuncture. I'm an acupuncturist, right? And when we put needles in or we do acupressure, it's helping to stimulate what the body knows how to do quite naturally, as long as, you know, it's set up appropriately. But if we have different issues, then our Qi gets stuck. So doing Qigong has many different benefits. And actually in Asia, in certain parts of Asia, in hospitals, it's actually used to help improve recovery for patients before they leave the hospital. And so there are thousands and thousands of styles. The one that I am certified in and teach is one specifically for women. And so what I'm going to show you today is actually, these postures come from different styles, but we're just gonna get into it. And so just follow along and I will be guiding you through it. So if it's available to you, please stand. Make sure you can see me okay. Backing up. I'm pretty visible. Okay,
And then can you move the chair that's in front of the computer? The silver
the
thing?
chair that-
What-
oh, that's my water. Sorry about that. Okay. Better?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what you're going to do, and men can do this as well, so this is going to be beneficial for you too, is you can just stand with your feet about hip width distance apart. And what you're going to do is you're just going to work to tuck your tailbone under. And if you're someone who has difficulty being able to stand, you can also do this sitting. I've taught Qigong classes with people who didn't have the mobility to stand, but had to do it sitting and still got benefit. We're going to do a slight tuck of the tailbone because many of us tend to hyperextend and don't realize it. We just want to just do a slight tuck of the tailbone, slight bend in the knee, and we want to relax our shoulders down. And what we're going to do is, if it's available to you, to just close your eyes and take a moment to feel your feet on the floor. Know that it's touching something that's touching the earth, which is the biggest antioxidant there is. And when we feel our feet on the earth, when we feel our feet on the floor touching the earth, just notice the different corners of your feet. And actually, there's one point at the bottom of our foot. It's the only point at the bottom of our foot that connects. You can imagine a space. You can imagine between your second and third toe, about 1/3 of the way, that you're connecting to the floor or to the earth from that point. So between the second and third toe, about 1/3 of the way down. And just imagine that you're connecting to the earth that way, like roots of a tree. And you can go ahead and close your eyes and just take a moment and take some nice deep breaths to your lower abdomen, or what we call your dantian. You can rest your hands over your lower abdomen, and you can rest your thumbs by your navel. And just take some nice deep breaths in with the goal of having your hands rise as you inhale. Now, for many of us, our breath tends to be higher up. So do your best to try to get it lower, but have it be comfortable. If your breath is high, it's okay, but it's something that you can do at any time to just work to get your breath deeper. That helps to nourish our kidney energy, which helps our reproductive energy, helps all the different cells of our bodies. So nice deep inhale and exhale. Good, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring our arms up as we inhale and down as we exhale. Inhale and exhale. And as you do so, you can even think about if there's anything that you particularly need for yourself this morning. And exhale. Or if there's nothing you feel like you need, you can think about just bringing all the good and positive energy to yourself because you're deserving of it. And exhale. We'll do 2 more. Exhale. And 1 more. Good. This is very good for calming the mind and for just getting our bodies more centered and prepared. And as we'll see as we talk about things that we can do to help prevent fibroids, mind and emotion is key, okay? So the last move we're going to do for today is a tapping at our inguinal area, our groins. If you are currently on your period, don't do this because it can increase your flow. You can continue to do this move, or you can just stand in the same posture that we began with and just take note of it, but do not do this next move if you are currently menstruating. So this area has a lot of important lymph, but also it can help to promote circulation in this area. So this area also, our liver channel runs through, which affects our lower abdomen and where our womb is. So what we're going to do is we're going to just give some taps. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a drop of our knees every other tap. So drop, every third tap, drop, 1, 2, 3, drop, 1, 2, 3, drop, drop. So you can inhale, drop, and exhale on the drop. Drop, and if that's difficult, just focus on this. Drop, 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 drop. One more, drop. Okay, and you can just take a moment and close your eyes and just notice how your body feels. You may feel like more movement, more circulation. Take a moment to just notice how you're feeling. You could take your hands and just put your palms out. Sometimes as we're doing Qigong, we actually will notice an energy sensation. That's our Qi. If you don't notice it, it's fine also. Your Qi is definitely flowing. If you are someone who has to do this, who it's difficult to stand to do, you can still do the tapping as well. To say that. So what we're going to do to close this part, we're just going to go ahead and do what we call gathering our Qi. So we're going to do another inhale like we did, and exhale. And then we're going to go ahead and gather our Qi from behind us and exhale. And then we're going to inhale and bring it right into our lower abdomen, dantian, with our thumbs back at our navel. Ideally, your left hand is touching your abdomen and your right is over that, unless the other way feels more comfortable to you. You close your eyes again and just take a nice deep breath in and out. Notice again your feet touching the floor. Note that it's touching something that's touching the earth. Always here for our support. One more nice deep breath in and exhale. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open them. You can let me know how that was for you. If anybody wants to come off mute.
Sure, I'll come off mute. This exercise has warmed my body up, and it also make me feel present.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. And this is a great move for men as well too, because men need the circulation at what we call your dantian, at your lower abdomen, for your reproductive area as well. When circulation is happening, then men are less likely to deal with prostrate issues and other male reproductive issues. That's great. I'm glad you noticed that.
And Mama Amal has her hand raised.
Yes, Mama Amal.
Oh, yes. Good morning. I
morning.
felt that chi running through my arms, and it just felt exhilarating. It was like cold water splashed on your face, exhilarating. Thank you.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. Yeah, I always want to offer this to and it's no offense to anybody who drinks coffee, but I always wish if I had the time, I would just go to where there are long lines of people waiting for their coffee and just do some Qigong and then see if people really need that coffee or not. All right, thank y'all. So we're going to go ahead and move into more of what we can do to help prevent fibroid growth, unless there's anything from Facebook or anyone who I don't see whose hand is up.
Teresa has her hand raised.
Okay.
Yes, I just wanted to say that last year I had gotten diagnosed with last year they saw that they had saw stage 3 cancer, and I had an exam yesterday, and my doctor, compared to last year's exam and this year, it was like a piece of cake. So I just wanted to thank the community for all the healing and loves and the herbs and different things that they sent towards me, because when I had an exam last year, I was crying severely, and it was like easy peasy, and I was just so amazed of how much my body, you know, has healed from that time up until now, you know. And it was like the doctor was like, "Oh, I'm worried." I was like, "Ma'am," I said, "You don't even know what has happened to my body, you know, and I'm good." You know, but it was like they have to tell you, you know, certain things to do. But my body has healed tremendously. I couldn't even take the exam. It was so severe. And so to
Wow.
be able to get them, you know, without any pain, it was just, it was miraculous. And when I did the exercise, I even helped even more. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Wanted, you know, to give y'all that victory report of how much my body has healed from last year up until now.
Ashe. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and I stopped eating a lot of meat also, and I started eating berries and all of that stuff in her.
Yes, we're about to talk a little bit about eating. So you're right on
Started
cue.
dealing with the anger. Stop dealing with my anger issues too.
Yes, you're right on it. You're right on it. Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful. Yes. So Teresa hit it right on, right? If we can go to the slides. In terms of what we can do to help prevent fibroids. Oh, I'm sorry. Was someone saying something? Okay. So in terms of what we can do to help prevent fibroid growth, again, this is from the medical standpoint that I come from. A lot of the articles that I've read from Western medicine, they're not always clear about like an etiology, right? We know that there are hormonal shifts that can contribute to fibroid growth. But in traditional Asian medicine, we say that the number one cause for fibroid growth is about our emotional health. And so what Teresa just laid out in terms of community is so important for us to get to have the emotional health and well-being. Particularly, we talk about the constraint, anger, resentment. Those things actually can house in our bodies, right? And so I always say that our bodies are the best accountants there is, right? So we might be like, okay, well, I didn't have the right amount of water I know I need today. Okay, I'm going to sleep. But the body's like, okay, negative, 8 ounces and this and that. And eventually there are ways we have to put back what we haven't given to our body. So the same way, yes, there are external pathogenic factors. Yep, we're going to get to that. So emotional health is really, really important. Oh my gosh, there's so much I could say about that. But I believe that we have our own issues, right? We have our own things, our own strengths, and we also have the different things that we may not have gotten to work through or process. I don't know anyone who's processed everything. And then we also have, what the lineage, right? We have the strengths of our, of our lineage, of our ancestors. And then we also have, things that are, things that they didn't get to process and work through. And so it's interesting, like, when I read the statistics and I was like, wow, 70% of white women before 49. So I'm like, I know our numbers are off the chain, right? Because of, the legacy, the effects that we haven't fully healed from slavery, and then also the things that we just may not have gotten to process ourselves. So I think it's really, really important for us to have emotional health and well-being and honesty and safe spaces to really be able to share, to journal, to do whatever we need to do to get out, and to be really clear and honest with ourselves about the different things that may have happened that we haven't gotten to work through. Because if we don't, those things still stay in our body and they can most definitely transform into things that our bodies do not want to deal with, which include masses and fibroids. So emotional health is the number one reason why we see this, why we say that fibroids exist. We say also, clinically, I've seen like many people have what we call like a stuck energy of the liver. And so that was what was so great about us doing the tapping that we did, because that helps to promote the flow of the liver. But I'm bringing this up because when there's constraint and anger, and there's things that we haven't gotten to get out and continue, because it's not like, oh, we just had this happen and then we're all done. There's usually like cleanup and like just staying on top of the different things that happen. Like the last 2 years have been bananas, right? In terms of, for so many people, like how it's just changed up our lives and how it's made it more stressful in different ways. And so it's not, I'm not saying that we expect to live without stress, but we have to have ways that we are managing our stress, and we have to have ways that we are not allowing things that we experienced to allow the negative parts to stay in. Like, I believe in, like, let's use our strengths, let's process, and let's get out what doesn't need to be within us, because if not, then the body's like, okay, I have this, I don't know what to do with it. And so it creates things. And so if we can work to really stay in good emotional health, then we can really help to prevent fibroids and help to prevent masses. So I went on for a minute there. I'm gonna just go through this, and then if there are questions, I can go to them, although I wanna make sure we have time for breakout rooms. But so the next one we'll talk about is balanced eating, or does it, I'm gonna just keep going. Is that okay, Kinyofu? I don't know if there's a lot in the chat or.
You can go ahead.
Okay, great. So balanced eating is really important. Okay, so we say particularly not a lot of cold or raw foods, and to have consistent eating times. So for instance, I have patients who are on raw food diets, and that might be, that might be working really great for them. But somebody else who, we would say already has a lot of cold in their body, if they're doing like a lot of raw foods all the time, then that may not be working as well for them. Perhaps like during the summer months, or if you live constantly in a warmer climate, but we believe that cold foods can contribute to stagnation, and can contribute to the blood stasis that I said is always present when we look at fibroids. So that's one of the things that is really important. I always recommend to my patients, try to not have things right out of the refrigerator. I have patients who's like, I just love some cold water. So that means that they have usually some sort of heat that they want this cold thing, unless it's like a really hot day, right? But that cold, what do we see? Yes, what do we see, in a few months from now, right? When it rains, it doesn't just rain, right? It'll be snow, it'll be ice, because cold contracts, right? So when we take in cold, it makes things within our body contract, particularly our blood. And so we want to limit cold and raw foods, have that as a consideration, particularly foods right out of the refrigerator. I won't necessarily get into like being a raw foodist or not. Like I've said, I've seen some people thrive on it, and I've seen some people who I don't think be such a great idea for their health. So that really becomes an individual thing. But I think the temperature things right out of the refrigerator is not so great. And then also making sure that you have regular eating times, right? That's also really, really important. And then for the last one, that it said was to dress appropriately for temperature. So avoiding what we call EPFs, or external pathogenic factors. So this is less of a cause of fibroid. Well, it is a cause, but it's less. Like emotional is number one, the balanced eating is number two. And then this is one that's also important to consider. So making sure that we're dressing appropriately for the temperature, right? Like if we're wearing, shorts and a cut up shirt and it's 80 degrees out, great. But if we're, then going into like a very, cold place that we're working at for a long period of time, things do come within our bodies. We are receptive, and if we're in whatever environment, our bodies take those things in. And so this is also, I can get into a whole other thing about that, but this is also what's important about doing detoxes because we're also exposed to like different environmental pollutants. And then also, you know, a lot of this comes back to the hormones, right? And so hormones is a whole other huge and long conversation, but I will say when possible, try to avoid drinking or eating things that's out of plastic. There are supposedly these laws and, you know, it's supposed to be without the BPA and all of these different things. But when possible, I still say to try to avoid that and other potential hormone disruptors, like meat that has hormones in it. And also it's been found to try to limit the pesticides, so like fruits and vegetables that have been sprayed with it. So lots of times that means organic, lots of times that can be more expensive, but when you have that option, try to do that. So yes. So
there are comments in the chat, and Mama Amal has her hand up.
okay, great. And then okay, great. And then after this, we're gonna do a question and then go into breakout rooms. All right.
Mama?
Hey, Mama.
Yes, I didn't take my hand down from the last time. So sorry. But that's really interesting because I came in late, so I wasn't sure what the topic was. And I saw in the chat about fibroids, and in my mind, I'm saying, well, fibroids has a lot to do with emotion. So I'm glad that that's what you're telling us. But yes. I never knew you have to eat you have to be careful eating raw or cold foods. I never knew that was part of it. And dressing appropriately. For old ladies, does that mean that we need to be somewhere where it's warm? I concur to that one, boy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I've noticed also too, sometimes when we, for some women, it's a good thing to just get accustomed to touching your womb and your womb area if you don't already. And some women who I've worked with around fertility issues, sometimes their wombs are actually more cold, and I'll have them do herbs to help warm up their area. And I'll actually say, you know, as it's getting colder, wear like a band, you know, around like any areas that you have a tendency towards feeling colder at as well. So, you know, it's really important to know our bodies.
You know, what's interesting is when I was growing up, my grandmother would be very concerned about making sure that I was tucked in. So wearing the shirt, the undershirt goes inside the pants or the skirt, and then the shirt on top of that. And anytime that I was exposed, she would like fix it, and it was very annoying. And I never heard anybody any other family or adult say that to their child. And I see people on a regular just like not connected. And what you're saying, it really connects to maybe where she was coming from, even not knowing why.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Moms, grandmoms, they have the truth and the knowledge, you know.
Yeah, they used to tell you to protect yourself when you had a baby, like to keep your womb and stuff covered up and make sure you had on, you didn't go, you know, like you wore clothes and you stayed home. And, you know, a lot of times the mothers just jump, they have a baby, they jump right back out. And they, you know, and a lot of times they're not even doing that right now. So it's a big difference in the care that we're getting then during that time. You definitely like, if you went outside, forget about it, they was like screaming at your head. Like, what are you doing outside? You're supposed to be home taking care of yourself. And they definitely, my mother, we always had to wear slips. Like women don't wear slips. We had to wear slips all the time because they was like, and definitely undershirts and stuff like that. So that's something that, you know, I still do it. You know, people be looking at me like, you know, that's too much. No, I need an undershirt on, and I need real underwear on.
Yes.
Yes,
I mean, and sometimes there were things that were, you know, considered to be like right, proper, you know, based off of what, you know, how it was communicated. But sometimes things had like an additional, had an additional backing or an additional reason to it that wasn't necessarily said or maybe even understood, or it just kind of like happened, right? You have the tale of like, why do people always put the turkey in the oven this way? It turns out that those ovens were shaped that way, you know, and that's what people continue to do. So
yes, Danett. So let me read some things from the chat if you want. And also I see that Louise's hand is up, and I know that you want to get into breakout rooms and then further discussion after that. What do you want to do?
Yes. I have, how about this? I'm going to, can I pose a question, and then while people put the answers in, I can take what's being said now. Is that okay?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, great. So we're in a few moments, we're going to have the opportunity to go into breakout rooms, which I'm really excited about. But I want us to answer this question. I want us to think about a time, and then I'll get to the comments. I want us to think about a time when you really were sick and tired of something. You were sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you said, hit the road, Jack, or you said, I'm not doing this, or I am doing this. You felt, right? And you made a decision, and it was very clear that that's what you were going to do, right? It was very clear that I'm not going back to this. I'm not doing that. No, right? There's a point where it's like, it's enough. And I think that, again, as I was saying in the beginning, because of the prevalence of fibroids, that sometimes there are, we just sort of assume that that's just what it's going to be. But I'd love, well, first, before I'm skipping steps, I would love to first hear from anyone, and you can put this into the chat, of a time that you can abbreviate it, or what a time where you were like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of this. I'm not doing this, or I am doing this. If you could write about that, and then specifically, what is it that you used to carry that through, right? Because lots of times we can, I'm kind of making a decision, but we don't really stick to it, right? And we don't have to be perfect, but sometimes it's good to just pick one thing that we're like, I'm not doing this anymore, or I'm definitely doing this, right? So I would love to hear about a time you were sick and tired of being sick and tired of something, and what is it that you used to bring that decision to be, to actually take that call to action and maintain it. Okay, so if we could go back to what is in the, what shares are,
Okay, so Catherine and Bolly Green Johnson says, I am considering the UFE as well. I have an appointment with the consultant next week. The other alternative is the partial hysterectomy, because the fibroid has tripled in size, is about the size of a large orange. And
yeah, and that again, the 40 to 50 age range is when it seems to be like the most, when women are dealing with the signs and symptoms and fibroids the most, it seems like.
From Facebook, Teresa Plaskett, in reference to the Qigong, she says, that was great. I could feel the vibration throughout my body. That was yummy.
Excellent.
All right, and the little conversation about salads and the shock of not eating cold foods is coming up. And Casey says, my husband from Sudan always tells me to drink warm beverages, even water.
Yes, classy Cassie, yes, right? Absolutely.
She also says, yes, after delivery, especially 40 days after birth, warm body, feet warm, drinks, food, or essential, taught by my elderly mentors.
Yes, so important. So
and
important.
I could bring Louise in. Okay, Jacqueline has her hand up now also, and we have yet to get to the questions, the answers to your questions.
It's also 8 o'clock, ladies. So,
Yeah,
Dr.
thank you.
Yeah, if you would acknowledge those that are leaving, there are people that are dropping out. So please acknowledge them and give them your information.
Oh, thank y'all ladies so much. And gentlemen, whoever has to leave, thank you so much for being here. You can always contact me at Dr. Danett at drdanettbean.com, or just go to my website. It's in transformation, but you can still reach me there. drdanettbean.com. I'm also on Instagram, Dr. Danett, and on Linktree, Dr. Danett. So thank y'all for being here.
Okay, I'm going to bring Louise up. Louise, can you start your video? Thank you.
Hi. Okay. Good morning. I'm
Good
driving, so
morning.
thank you.
Yes.
This is such a great conversation. I'm 50 now, but when I was in my 20s, I was in nursing school. I started learning about the effects of like cholesterol and how it can contribute as you get older to heart disease and so forth. And I was reading Essence magazines, and I was reading about fibroids and how they felt food, especially for Black women, contributed. And my mother had a hysterectomy due to fibroids. My other aunt had a hysterectomy, several women in my family. And at that point in my life, I said, I'm about prevention.
Yes.
So I said, I don't want to have a hysterectomy in my 40s or whatever age it was going to be. And so I started to slowly stop eating meat. And, I cut out red meat, then, I stopped eating chicken. This is all during college. And my cousin who's my age, when she was in her 30s, she ended up having a fibroid while she was pregnant, and they were scared that she was going to have a miscarriage because of that. And to this day, I've never had a fibroid. So I'd like to think it was because of the preventative measures I took from in my 20s to stop eating meat. I mean, there was even a few years that I was a vegan. And then I started back eating fish. So I'm currently a pescatarian. So, I feel like there's something to be said because it's something that was rampant in my family. And so I'm thankful to Essence Magazine for, writing that article for me to really say, I want to be able to prevent these things. So, I just wanted to share that if there's anybody in their 20s or 30s on the call that want to try to prevent this, for their 40s or their 50s. So thank you for this conversation. Now I'm complete.
Thank you so much for that. I congratulate you, and I congratulate anyone who's doing cycle breaking of any type. I think that there's a lot of wonderful things that we've gotten from our lineage, and then there are also things that didn't get to be healed, and a lot of us have the opportunity to be cycle breakers. I just want to add, I don't think it's ever too late. Like, it's so great that you got your start in your 20s, and for certain with fibroids, because it's based off of what we say is blood stasis, which is one of the hardest things to move. It's not impossible. And so, if you are someone who is in your 40s and 50s, there are still things that you can do, particularly in the 40s is when it seems to be more of an issue for women. But there's still things that you can do, and you can still, implement some of the changes that I've listed, or think about what's next for you. So I believe it's never too late. Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, there's answers to your question, and I believe that you were going to have the discussion, have folks do the discussion in the breakout room, right? So do you want me to read these?
Yeah. I mean, you could read them, or I could have one person share. What do you think?
Okay.
But you know what? No, you read them because I want people to get time in the breakout rooms. Yep.
So Jacqueline's hand is also up, so let's just bear that in mind.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, let's have the share.
Okay. Jacqueline? Jacqueline, you there? You can share.
Good morning. I'm sorry. I'm still in my bed. I just wanted to share that I used to suffer from fibroids a lot when I was younger. And I went to one of these herbal stores, and what I was taking was Damiana root. I started drinking that a lot. And I was also told to drink warm water in the mornings. I was also told to work on my emotional health. And these are by the Rastafarians who were running the place. Yes. I stopped eating meat at that time. I was never a really big meat eater. My mother never really made a lot of meat. She made a lot of sides and put small parts of meat. The only thing she didn't do was she didn't emphasize salad and things like that. So a lot of warm foods. And I also, because my job was so stressful, thank God I was able to retire. But for 9 years, I hated my job. And so what I did was I brought music into my space. So I put the music on in the morning. I had my tea. I made sure I came in early. And I would sit down in my classroom and I would listen to the music and I would drink my teas and I would probably pace and walk up and down. Sometimes I added with walking in too. I would go to the track outside the school and walk before my day started. And I found that that was very helpful. Even the students coming into the room were very peaceful because they heard the music and they just sat down and you know, relaxed and everything. And they knew that that was going to be their routine every day. So that was very helpful, developing healthy routines to get through the day and to you know, eliminate the stress. But music was a big part of it. And I'm complete.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Wow, so much in what you said. I'm really glad you brought up the herbs. Herbs can be really helpful and really important for helping to prevent fibroid growth. I always recommend to people, if you're taking any herbal medicine, to make sure you watch it while you're on your cycle. You may not, for those who are taking herbs, to take note of it, because some herbs can make your cycle heavier, particularly if they are focused on the womb area. So yeah, the herbs can be really, really important. I've actually done a bunch of research and have helped women with the using herbs over the years, and with helping to decrease masses. And we'll get to talk about one of the blends. And also, I just want to say, like, what you did was so powerful. And this is what I believe we're all working to do, right? Like, you were in a situation, right? You couldn't stand it, right? And so, but you had to be in that situation and you figured out how to make it work for you. And so I think that was your sick and tired is what I heard. Your sick and tired was sick and tired of how you would feel at work. And so you made the decision that I'm going to make this work for me. I'm going to make sure I have my tea. I'm going to make sure I'm sitting down. I'm going to make sure I'm doing this in a way that works for me. So that's beautiful, right? Sometimes we can't stand our jobs. Sometimes we just can't leave our jobs, right? But if we can figure out how to actually make things work for us and have that commitment to ourselves and maintain that, then that definitely, it sounds like you were able to take off a lot of the stress and the negative emotions that you were internalizing. So that's beautiful. Thank you for that. All right, so great. Oh,
Chat? Should I look at the chat or not?
I'm looking at the time. I think we should do the breakout rooms and then come back to that. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to go into the breakout rooms and then Kinyofu will go to the chat. And so in the breakout rooms, I'd love for people to pick one of the 3 things that was listed. If it's emotional well-being, if it's eating, if it's, you know, making sure you're dressing appropriately, or anything that I mentioned or anything that I didn't mention. If fibroids isn't an issue for you and you're like, I know, 100% in my being know that everybody knows what it is that they need to do to take their health to the next level. Sometimes, a lot of times I just listen to my patients. I have things in mind, but I'm like, they're going to say exactly what they need to say. I don't say anything and then they say it. I'm like, yeah, you just said it. So everybody knows what they need to do next to take their health to the next level. So whatever you put into the chat or you know that you use when you're like, I'm sick and tired of this, whatever was the strength or the thing that you used to make that change, I want you to see if you can marry those 2 things. What's your next, what's going to take your health to the next level, and something that you can do to actually, you know, stick to that one thing. And it could be whatever, you know, you see as what's good for your next level of health. So I think we got to make them, is it possible to make them a little shorter, Kinyofu?
Sure.
Or is it already?
We can do whatever it is that you want. Like, I don't know what the agenda looks like.
Yeah, so everybody just take a turn. So let's see, I wanted us to be back at 8:18. Oh, at 8:15, that's not enough time. Okay, 7. Yeah, let's do 6 minutes. It's kind of short. But...
Okay, there's 3 people in each room. And you're in for 6 minutes. And you'll be pulled into the breakout room automatically and pulled out automatically as well. I will see you shortly.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So Danett, I have you in the main room along with the admin as well as one participant. That's Geraldine. Wait.
Morning.
Danett. Oh, I didn't keep her here. Oh no. Let me pull her out. I'm sorry.
So while we're waiting to bring Danett back, Geraldine, that was like divine order, not spoken of, that you're here in the main room. So if you would come off mute and on camera, if you would, and share what you've researched a little bit about fibroids in the meantime. Thank you.
Good morning.
Ew.
Hi, how are we? It's been a long time. I'm glad I was able to get on. This is actually really important. I actually recently had a surgical procedure for my fibroids. I had a hysteroscopic myomectomy 2 weeks ago now. I actually had my post-op visit yesterday. And leading up to the surgery, I had a few different options. I had been dealing with this for many, many years, my teenage years, with really just bad menstrual cycles, nothing I looked forward to. And now I'm going to be 40. And so I've dealt with it for the most of my, I guess you could say, teenage and young adult and adult life now. And that honestly, it was really my frustration and my discouragement of having to look forward to having my period every month. That was my, yeah, I've had it. So, my process has been a few months. I started out with just taking some medication, non-estrogen sort of hormonal treatment medication, because I have a pre-existing clotting disorder. So I can't really take anything with like estrogen and stuff like that. So I started that out and that sort of helped, but not quite. And then, they gave me options. I can stay on medication. I could do localized IUD. I can get the UTE, the embolization, and or myomectomy, or hysterectomy. I didn't want a hysterectomy, even though I don't have any plans on having children anymore, because my child is going to be 15 years old and I'm going to be 40. So I'm not going to have any more kids. But just with the research that I did about some of the after sort of side effects and the adjustments of women who've had hysterectomy, particularly in my age group, that's just not something that I was willing to have to deal with. And I just think that for any reason that's just a really big, and unnecessary option for something like fibroids. I feel like it's like you're amputating a limb is a big deal. It's like you're amputating a very important organ in your body. So that was a non-option for me. So I actually ended up going two ways. I had a hysteroscopic myomectomy, which removed the fibroids on the inside of my uterus. And they did do a Mirena IUD to minimize a lot of the bleeding, because I am not severely anemic, but pretty anemic, where it really does impact me a lot of the time, especially during that time of the month. I do still have fibroids on the outside of my uterus, I was going to actually undergo a laparoscopic procedure. But in doing my research and watching YouTube videos and reading articles, I realized that I would have needed like support at home following that procedure. And it's just myself and my 14-year-old, and I really can't put that responsibility on her. But either way, in the research that I've done, I realized that it affects Black women like at alarming rates, and they really can't understand. It affects many women, but mostly Black women, but they really can't understand where it comes from. But I've followed a lot of groups. I follow a lot of different doctors who have preferred methods of having to treat fibroids. They make certain procedures for certain age groups. They typically reserve uterine fibroid, the UFEs, is that it? Yeah, the UFEs. At least my surgical GYN said, that I was a bit on the young side for that, only because they try to reserve that for women who are a little bit older, who might be perimenopausal, because it reduces the blood circulation to the uterus. But, an inadvertent or adverse impact is it also reduces blood flow to your ovaries. And it can throw you into early menopause. And a lot of people know with menopause, you can have bone density issues and all sorts of different stuff. So that was an option that, although it was an option that my GYN kind of discouraged me, because like you're young and you don't want to get thrown into early menopause.
Okay, there you go. But that was a good too.
And I think people are back.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize I was muted. We're all back, but I want to thank you so much for your share.
Yeah, and I've just literally been sticking to a lot of the groups and just doing the research and following people who have other options, because I'd like to try to avoid undergoing another surgical option for the fibroids, which actually a little bit larger on the outside of the uterus. So, trying to make some lifestyle adjustments that, that include some of the things that were mentioned. I didn't catch the beginning part, but I know that a lot of the options is really having to do with diet and lifestyle and stress and all of these things that do impact the body. But there has been not necessarily research, but there's been a lot of anecdotal testimonies that the fibroids do degenerate when you do make certain lifestyle changes and stuff.
Yes. No, I thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's a huge topic. We're going to go to some of the other shares, but I appreciate your share so much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Sorry.
You. No, thank you.
And thank you, Coach Glenn. Thank you, Coach Cheryl.
So shares from the breakout rooms. Anybody want to share what they said hit the road to? And what your plan is, or could put it in the chat, or anybody want to share. This is also our time for questions. So we've got about 3 minutes, 3 minutes for all of the above.
I'm going to call on someone to share from the breakout room. Maybe we can have 1 or 2 shares. So Sahu Speet, would you unmute and share, please? And after her, then we'll ask.
Great day,
Aaliyah.
Great day, everyone. I just want to know if I'm driving. I was in a room with Sister Zakia. I'll speak about me because I didn't ask her if she wants me to speak about her. So what I shared was, I just came out of a relationship that took me 3 years emotionally so I didn't have the fibroids, but because we're dealing with the emotional state and how that affects our health, I just related it to my emotional state. I wanted to remove, hey, Shawnee, I wanted to remove myself from the relationship, but emotionally I was so attached to love. I got to stay in it. I got to stay in it. I got, all that kind of stuff. And what would happen is I would find myself that my womb would get really, really warm, and I would feel really scared. And then I would have to like take a deep breath. And I started to recognize that this was my sign that I needed to stop what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and trust myself and just go through this. And I would actually kind of sit myself like, kind of like in a corner, like in a room, to like have myself like be still with myself and let my womb, my emotions kind of move through it. And then I would speak and say whatever I needed to say. Didn't worry about the response, but I had to like get my truth out. And so I went through that for like 3 years, just getting that through my body, understanding what my womb is telling me and the heat in it. And sometimes I would have shivers like, wow, girlfriend, you've been holding this stuff in your body all over the place. But I recognize that's my womb speaking to me. And I'm complete.
Beautiful. Thank you for that share so much. It's real. Yeah.
It's real.
Integration piece. And like, that's what's so great when you know your body and you take time to like listen to it, because it communicates all the time. And it's great that you are so in touch and listen to it. Shay.
And we'll have Lori next.
Hi, I just wanted to say that what showed up for me in this, what I'm saying goodbye to, the last time I spoke in this group, in this community, I was crying. And what I wanted to say is that what I let go of is holding everything in and not taking care of myself. So I actually started speaking to a counselor weekly. I actually made time to do things that enrich me and fill me up, so that I'm not just dealing with things by myself, but in community.
Yeah.
And I know that has positive impact on my physical well-being, because I know the body's keeping score. So I'm looking forward to seeing the physical improvements that come from me taking better care of my emotional well-being.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Yes. Beautiful.
Powerful.
So powerful. Oh man, so much. So glad we got to do this. So glad we got to do this. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, it's a big topic, but again, just because it's something that is common doesn't mean that it has to become normal. And we can do things that can help our bodies to reduce masses. So and actually, okay, yes. If we could go to the part 2, please. Yeah, maybe we will do a part 2. My mind was going as we're closing. I'm like, oh, we could expound on this and that. So yeah, we'll see. Thank you for that. So maybe we'll go back to the slides because it's that time.
Okay.
And my apologies to anyone who wanted to share who we didn't get to. But I'm glad that you got to put it out and into the space, into the chat, and continue to just get stuff out in healthy ways, sacred spaces, journal, your own team, whatever you need for you. Everybody needs their own medical team. Everybody needs their own team, I believe. Oh, it's a, okay, yes. So, all right, so that's my book. I wrote a book. And it's so interesting. We talked about it this morning. In the book, there's a page or two in the beginning that has like free offers. And I have a free PDF fibroid prevention guide that's in there. But yes, this book is all about healing postnatal depletion, which is something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I believe affects mother's health, not just like soon after the baby, but potentially for some women based off of the severity of the maternal morbidity, potentially for their whole life. So, or not for their whole life, but it has the potential to. So it's, I like it. A lot of people like it. So it's on Amazon. It's in Kindle, and it's also on Audible. So, and paperback. So you have a choice. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yes. All right, so we have a special offer today. So anyone who orders the Not for the Masses herbs today gets 5% off. The Not for the Masses herbs is something that I have put together based off of my many years of clinical experience. And it really helps in terms of moving blood. It helps with getting the liver energy moving. It helps with calming the body. I did it in a way because I'm not someone who's into like everybody should take each of, you know, every herb is for every person, but I really work to make it something that generally works pretty well for most people. And also it's all based off of, every herb in there is based off of research. There's also adaptogens in there, which are really helpful for how our bodies negotiate stress. So anybody who purchases those herbs today, you get 5% off. You go to this healthymamasInharmony.com, healthy aging. It should be the first picture that you see. It says Not for the Masses. And then you just enter the code WOO, all capitals, WUE, and you'll get 5% off. And then also I'm really, really excited because I have a program that just takes into account everything that I've been telling patients to do and putting the power more in their hands for those who aren't able to work with me directly. We do some things about decreasing inflammation and more Qigong moves and everything to help prevent the growth of fibroids and masses in the body. So that program is soon to be released. So if you join my mailing list, you'll be notified of when that comes out. And once a week, I send out something on things you can do to boost your wellness. So I try to keep it concentrated and short. All right. And you can contact me here at any of those things. Email is actually the quickest way to reach me, Dr. Danett at drdanettbean.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and you can call me, but bear with me. So email is definitely the quickest, and then Linktree has all of my links there. Right, I'll go ahead, Kenya. Yes, so if you feeling today and you want to do a love offering, then you can just do so via Zelle and QuickPay, SOW Leadership, Soul Leadership Development at gmail.com, Cash App, $ Spirit of a Woman, and code number 433DB. We have the link there for cash.me.
And I'm going to add to that Danett was here healing people, sharing what all needs to be done, sharing things that you don't get from the medical profession. And by looking at the chat, you can see that there's been some lack of awareness from the medical world in how they deal with women's bodies. So I see Danett healing the world of women and sharing generously to Danett and her cause will create a ripple effect that will be amazing. So my offer is go ahead and do this love offering donation. And so next up we have tomorrow, Stacy is joining us again. Yogisha presents Winning Wednesdays, Affirm and Acknowledge Yourself. And following her is Dion Nichols. Her topic is The Reset, How to Pivot from Powerless to Purpose, Part 2. If you are new in this space, we welcome you. Let us know that you're here. Drop a message in the chat here in Zoom or in the Facebook comments so that us people who've been around for a minute can welcome you and acknowledge you for being here. And if you are, whatever new looks like for you, if you've been in Zoom and now you're in Facebook, you're new. If you've been in Facebook and now you're in Zoom, you're new. Welcome, thank you. And coming back. So we're here 5 days a week, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 8:30, and Monday, Wednesday from 7 to 7:30. We're always streaming live on Zoom. I should say we're always on Zoom and streaming live on Facebook. And if you want to receive text messages saying, alerting you, waking you up in the morning so that you can get into Zoom or Facebook, this is what you would do. You would open up your text right now put in 74121 in the to section, and in the comment section, type in Rule Nation. Press send, that's it. And then you will be on the automated text messaging system. We have swag. If you don't have yours yet, you can go to bit.ly/Rule Swag and get your mask or your t-shirts or your sweatshirts. It's that time now. I'm all wrapped up here. I'm cold. A mug for your warm liquids and the thermos to keep the liquids warm. Yes, we're ready. bit.ly/Rule Swag. Thank you, and stay in touch. You do that by registering every week. Everybody needs to register in order to get the Zoom link in the email, as well as the heads up of who's going to be presenting that week, what they're talking about, and what their background is. And other information comes into the emails over time. You can join us on Facebook. We have a group and we have a page, and this link bit.ly/Rule Community is to our page, and our group is facebook.com/Rule Nation. So we stream automatically into the public page, and I might have this wrong. Cheryl, you can help me out if I have gotten it confused again. But we do stream live into the page. That's what Facebook and Zoom have us do. And then we share it into the private group. The private group is where you see messages from community members and lessons, mini lessons from our facilitators. Instagram, YouTube, you can find us there. We're still developing that out. And we have an email that you can contact us if you need support or have some information to drop. So I'm going to stop the share, and we can ask everyone to come off of mute. So
Thank you, Dr. for this great exercise. And let's move forward, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Danett.
Dr. Danett.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your
Love that she gone.
conversation.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you
Danett.
so
Thank you so
Wonderful
much.
day,
Have a blessed day.
everyone.
Blessings.
Blessing to
Love
see
you.
everybody
Love
and
the
a lot of
information that you shared.
Everybody.
Great topics. So much. Thank you so much. See y'all tomorrow.
Give thanks that you will
Wake
continue
up
to
with me.
prosper and
Thank
be
you,
of
Dr.
good health.
I hope to see you tomorrow.
Yes, I was
Thanks.
gonna say I have to
Hallelujah.
catch up with tomorrow as well.
Tomorrow.
But I
Peace,
thank
love,
you
and
so much.
namaste.
This morning, y'all. Thank you. So good to see everyone. I
Love
love
you,
y'all.
love you.
Come.
Peace and love.
Come.